The water is full of garbage, so it stinks, but we're already used to the smell.
They said they would only throw cloth, but the factories are finding other things to throw away.
In the last 5 years, Myanmar has become a global dumping ground for plastic waste. Some originates down the road, but some is shipped from countries tens of thousands of kilometers away by companies who find it impossible or expensive to recycle at home. Hello and welcome to Doathon, a weekly podcast that brings you human rights stories from Myanmar. It's brought to you by Fondation Hirondelle. This episode is produced by Allegra Mendelsohn, Rachel Moon, and Cha Zin in partnership with Lighthouse Reports. Names and voices may have been changed to protect contributors.
They started dumping here when we first founded this village because they have nowhere else to put the waste. They contacted us and asked if we wanted to take it. At that time, we needed to build a road and we didn't have any money to buy sand, so we accepted. They said they would only throw cloth, but the factories are finding other things to throw away. They keep finding new things to dump.
Da Kain Thuza moved to Ward 27 of Shui Pita Township in Yangon in 2012. Since then, about 700 squatters have joined her. There are more than 180 simple bamboo houses in the area, mostly built on stilts. Half the area is flooded, and there is a lot of garbage around. Residents accepted 5,000 chia per garbage dump from local factories so they could build a road. But there is a second dump site, which squatters call the yard. It's a waterlogged area owned by former residents who moved away and allowed it to be used for trash. Ko Cha Wei lives closer to this area. He's no stranger to garbage. He spent years working as a waste collector, moving trash from the ward to municipal dump sites. He says the squatters tried to use garbage to fill in the flooded areas, but it has actually had the opposite effect.
When they threw the garbage into the flooded area and dug up the land, the water level started to rise. Garbage in the back drain is blocked, so the water level rises higher in the neighborhood.
There is now 4 feet of water under his house. He and his family have constructed a path and a ramp made of sandbags and car tires to allow them to go in and out. His wife works at a nearby garment factory. Her income, less than $150 per month, is all the family has to live off. Like most in the community, their home has no running water, so they have only the waterways to bathe in, and these are now polluted by trash. As Ko Cha Wei says, it's a dangerous environment.
The water is full of garbage, so it stinks, but we're already used to the smell. When the water is always flooding, our feet get itchy. There are also so many mosquitoes. We have to be careful with our children. Children from our area have fallen into the water at least 3 times.
Shui Pita wasn't always a mass dump site. One of Yangon's more newly built townships, its name translates to the gold and pleasant place. Today it's anything but, with almost every block polluted by heaps of plastic waste and other trash. The factories, sprinkled across Shui Pita, account for large portions of the waste dumped in the community, but are not solely responsible. Countries across Europe and North America continue to ship their trash to the Southeast Asian country. Among the waste identified by Frontier were wrappers from Lidl, Unico, Penne Regate, Foremost, Castellan, Spomlek, and Oikos. None of these companies supply goods to Myanmar. Lidl, Carlsberg, Poland, which produces Castellan beer, and Spomlek, did not know how their waste got to Myanmar. Unico, Foremost, and Danone, which produces Oikos, didn't respond. The import of plastic waste is illegal in Myanmar, and under the Basel Convention, mixed waste is only allowed to be shipped to countries which can adequately dispose of it. According to United Nations Comtrade data, the largest global trade database, countries reported exporting more than $70 million worth of plastic waste to Myanmar between 2017 and 2022. That's 143,000 tons of plastic waste, more than 114,000 tons of which came via Thailand. And this is only what is officially recorded. Large quantities of waste remains concealed. It's moved from Thailand to Myanmar through opaque and at times even illegal channels. One way to do this is with a transit agreement, a permit that allows a shipment to enter Thailand temporarily, move through the country, and exit with limited oversight. U Oka Pyomong is the founder and head of Myanmar recycling organization Recyclo. He has followed the plastic waste trade closely and is familiar with the use of transit agreements.
The transit destination is a good way to bypass the legal system. The destination is not Thailand, but it is a transit country, so you can use a document plus the country. So let's say you unload in Bangkok, drive to Mae Sot to Yangon. It's a big one, especially with the raw material.
A benefit of the agreements is that shipments in transit are not opened in Thailand, allowing goods to move through the country, leaving barely a trace. Transit agreements also won't be targeted in Thailand's plastic waste ban, announced earlier this year. This will allow for the trade to continue undeterred for the foreseeable future. Western countries are on the hunt for places to offload their waste and will often use loopholes and unofficial channels to do so. But the trade isn't one-sided. Many recyclers in Myanmar also welcome the foreign waste because it's often cleaner. Like Tun Kain, he owns 2 plastic factories in Mandalay. He buys foreign plastic to resell and also to produce plastic pellets used in manufacturing.
We like imported waste more, even though we have to pay more than local waste. If we use the local waste, there are more steps to washing and cleaning it. If we use the imported waste, we can put it directly into the machine, so the process is quicker and the quality of the products is better.
But not all of the plastic waste is usable. Min Set Myat buys foreign waste for his plastic pellet factory in Yangon, but he estimates that the factory still has to get rid of at least 10% of the foreign waste.
There is unusable, non-recyclable waste that comes out while manufacturing the plastic pellets. The unusable plastic we either bury or burn. If we bury it on our property. We don't use landfills. But most of the time, we will burn it.
Min Set Myat is not alone. Burning garbage is very common in Myanmar among recyclers and ordinary citizens looking to get rid of their trash. But it can pose very serious health hazards. For instance, polyvinyl chloride plastic, also known as PVC, which is used in products like piping, emits toxic fumes when it's burned. These have been linked to breast and other cancers. Plastics have also been found to leach toxic chemicals into soil or water over time. These kinds of chemicals could be leaching into the soil and the water in the squatter settlements in Shui Pita Township right now. The residents are so poor that they have accepted some garbage into their compound, and they are so powerless that they cannot do anything about other trash being dumped in their yard. None of them like living in these conditions, but residents say the municipal authorities have stopped helping with garbage disposal, and since the coup, they are too scared to speak out. Since they are squatters, they're afraid that the military authorities will just demolish their houses. So instead, people like Ko Chow Wei have had to stay quiet as more waste is dumped in his backyard. Thanks for listening to this edition of Doathon. We would welcome your feedback on social media. This project on human rights reporting is supported by Fondation Hirondelle with the help of our donors. You can listen to our podcasts via the Doathon Facebook page. They can also be found on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. You can also listen every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. and Sunday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. on Voice of America Radio. Please tune in again next week.